Alrighty. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to another weekly DaaS Sales Workshop. As I usually start off with, and this is, yep, correct. This is no different this week. Definitely see a couple of new faces on here from either clients that had just enrolled or maybe people that had never hopped on my calls or my workshops before. So that's always great. And I'm going to cover what to expect and, what these workshops are specifically designed to cover as opposed to office hours or media buying. Or speaking of Adam's weekly workshop, if anybody didn't attend or didn't see the replay of the one he did last Wednesday with Brandon, I'd highly recommend checking that one out. I actually didn't see it live, but I caught it the next day when he either dropped it in school or on YouTube, and it was definitely one of the better client workshops I had seen in quite a while. I wish I was on it live, so highly recommend going back and checking that out. But again, my workshops and what I'm here to cover on the Tuesday DaaS Sales Workshops is everything to do with the sales side. So a majority of the people in the program, whether you're an incubator or DaaS, you're looking to resell the data. Again, whether that's kind of as a standalone DaaS agency and that's your objective, or just kind of blending this in with your existing agency and you're more of a full stack marketing agency, right? I know there's a combination of you guys. I can already see by some of the faces and names on the call that some of you guys came in, already with your SEO or Facebook ad agency, and you're just kind of adding data into that. And some of you guys just lead with it and focus more on the data. Matter of fact, Sterling, I think you and I just had a call, yesterday, was it? So you are obviously newer into the program.
Yeah, brand spanking new.
Gotcha. Well, I'm going to have some more resources. I know I sent you over a lot of stuff yesterday and might have overwhelmed you, but I'm going to cover some more stuff that I think will be helpful to, yourself, whether you're newer in this program or, however long you've been in. I know some of you guys that have been on quite a bit of my workshops. Some of this is always redundant because I go over some of the same resources, especially what I give away to our newer clients. But hold on, let me just make sure I'm not missing anybody in the waiting room. Nope, nobody else in there right now. We can close that out. The first thing that I always go over and I share, and give me about 2 seconds, guys, and this link will be dropped right here in the Zoom chat for you guys to have. But when you book a one-on-one call with me and you come into the program and you get your THO kickoff call with myself and we kind of build out your game plan, this is one of the resources that I send over in the email shortly after our call that I always recommend you guys star and save. So again, this is just the best resources for reselling the data. Everything you need to build out your entire DaaS sales process, right? So Donald, go ahead. You can go ahead and ask your question really quick before I dive into this.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't realize that I could get a one-on-one call to kind of go over strategy with you. Where do I book that call?
What program are you in? What package are you in terms of Audience Lab? Do you know?
I'm in the incubator right now. I'm on the process of selling my other audience, and once I do that, I'll be upgrading to the full.
Yeah, so just to clarify here, guys, and sometimes I do specify this. I just feel like everybody heard it so much. So obviously you're relatively newer to these calls or our program, Drew. So if you're in any tier of the DaaS packages, that's where you get a little more support, and all of our DaaS clients get the one-on-one call with me. So I'm sorry I didn't specify. Incubator clients don't quite have the same level of support because, I mean, there's a couple of reasons for that, but generally people that come in the incubator come in for one of two reasons. Number one, they really just want to use the data for themselves and they're not really looking to resell. Or number two, they want to jump in at a smaller tier to just land their first client or two. And usually they're looking to upgrade to DaaS because in the incubator, you can really only serve one or two clients a month with the amount of data you have, right? So I'm not sure if you fall into kind of one of those two buckets, but whenever or if it gets to the time where you upgrade even to the lowest tier DaaS, that's where you're going to get some more resources and access to some more one-on-one support, Drew.
I gotcha. I'm a reseller, so yeah, I'm just trying to close a couple of these to fund the monthly expense. So yeah, I'll be seeing you there soon.
Exactly. Great. And some of these resources that you haven't seen because you haven't had that call with me that I'm going to give you today are going to really help you probably in that process of getting that first client or two. So it's great that you're here. But yeah, you can always also, whether you're in any program, guys, I can still make time for you. You can message me and DM me on school and I can try to fit you in. But generally speaking, for a number of reasons, we kind of only allow as many one-on-one calls for the DaaS clients. But yeah, we're going to go through some of those resources regardless that you would get. And hopefully we do get that one-on-one call where I can build out, what I do, guys. And if you have one of those calls, Sterling, again, just the other day, I kind of give you a custom idea of, hey, this is where you're at and this is where you want to be. Hey, Ray, I just enrolled last week and I really want to make DaaS agency my primary thing. I enrolled into your tier 2 program at $1,500 a month, whatever. And I'm looking to get my first 5 clients. Okay, cool. So do you have more of a warm foundation and existing clients and a network you're talking to? Are you talking about just cold traffic? You want to run ads to get your first client? So, and based on your, you know, foundations or what you have in your repertoire that you want to utilize, I kind of build out, hey man, if I was in your shoes, wanting to organically going to a cold market without, having quite an ad budget for my own stuff yet, this is exactly how I would do it. And this is where I'd spend my time in getting familiar. And then I build out that game plan. So Drew, that's kind of what to expect.
Drew, that's exactly, I'm exactly where he said, like, I don't know what I don't know. Like, I came into this, I took the plunge. I'm like, screw it, let's go, damn the tidewaters, type of thing. And by the time we were done on 15, 20-minute call, I'm like, okay, I got my next steps and I understand what's doing. So I get that it's a big push for the month when you don't have anybody, but it's kind of one of those things. Set yourself a hard deadline, 30 days, make the purchase, and then get with Ray and say, hey, I'm going to make you prove what you just said. So,
yeah, hold me to it. I like people to make me prove it. I'm fine with. I'm a man of my word. I try to deliver on my promise, and if anything, I try to over deliver. But at minimum, deliver on my promise. Thank you, Sterling, for saying so. I'm glad you felt that it was that helpful. That's kind of my goal there.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I have I already sold one of them, so I'm halfway there, and I have a verbal on the other. So I don't think it's going to take me very long to clear the deck here. I didn't realize that there was multiple groups of people on these calls. I thought all these calls were kind of principal incubator calls, so that's not a problem.
Yeah, that's a great point. I guess our principal incubator calls will say incubator in the title. That we have one that called incubator call or incubator Q&A. Though that's more for the incubator group because again, the big difference is a lot of those guys either are only like using it for one client or for themselves. So there's a different objective than as a reseller. So yeah, you're definitely on the right call, and you just started that tier for whatever reason, but your objective is the same as the DaaS clients to be more the reseller, which is great.
100%.
Awesome.
Thanks.
Drew, I also leave time open at the end for a Q&A. So if you have any others, just jot them down or type them in the chat and I'll get back to them. But let me just kind of go through my thing and then I'll get back to calling on anybody that has a question. Cool, guys. So this first resource, and again, right now, I'm just going to go throw the link right here in the chat. Let me go drop it there and then I'll explain exactly what this is for anybody that hasn't seen it or anybody new. This is the first call you're on with me, whatever. So that link is right there in the Zoom chat. You should all see it. Number one, guys, is a Google Doc I put together with the exact sales process that I built out for our team here at Audience Lab. So as many of you guys may know, we're doing well over 6 figures a month in revenue. We do about 6 figures a month in just new revenue, not including the existing MRR on our platform. I was the first rep that sold for Audience Lab and helped build out this process. And again, as you may now know, we have multiple reps on the team and I kind of manage and oversee. But the exact sales process that I built out to build our company, I lay out here. So the process, the build out, the game plan, the timeline, the expectations. Number two on this is I did a little tutorial overviewing this document where I might have kept stuff short in the definition form for the document that I know people would want me to, elaborate or expound upon. That's what that tutorial is about. Number three, always showing you what's working for us. And I meant to do this last week. Let me make a note to self. I'm going to update all of our new ad campaigns in here as well. Sorry, guys, just give me 1 second so I can make this note. I had this in my to-do list last week and I didn't highlight it. But on this particular document, I show you the current ads and the creative that we do. I show you the email messaging that we send out to our clients, both our cold and warm. I show you the creative that we're putting together, the copy we send out in our LinkedIn organic outreach, and all that stuff so you guys can start to get some ideas about effective messaging, creative, copy, etc. Number 4 and 5 on my screen, guys, I've already built out your sales scripts for that 2-call process I recommend in number 1 and 2 on this document. So number 4 would be your initial call or your triage call. Number 5 would be your sales script or framework for your actual sales or demo call. Number 6, guys, is a copy of the authority pitch deck that we put together for you guys as resellers. So guys, this has nothing branded to Audience Lab. You click on it, you go download and make your own copy, swap out the first slide or 2 for your own branding, company name, whatever. And this is just a short 15 or 20 slide pitch deck showing clients exactly how in-market audiences work, how our identity resolution works, a half dozen or a dozen case studies in different niches and industries and the results we've seen. A very good tool that you should use in your demo presentation. Number 7, I go in a bit more depth about the pixel pricing and the identity resolution. And then guys, within the description of that video is our pixel calculator. So if you're ever talking to a prospect or a potential client, and we know about the average amount of hits they get per month, the average order value of their product or service, and the average conversion rate that their website is currently hitting at, we can usually get a very close guesstimate of how much revenue they're leaving on the table by not using an identity resolution tool. And then number 8, you guys asked a few months ago, maybe 3-4 months now, for some of my sales calls recordings. And although I'm a co-owner and I run the sales team, guys, because I run another company called the Sales Lab, I'm always building sales teams, training and placing reps. I always feel like when I step out of anything for too long, I'm going to lose my edge. So I always take a couple weeks a month and go put myself back in the sales calendar and take calls. So there's 15 or 20 of my calls. So you guys can get used to the verbiage, the terminology, the rapport, and how to move these deals forward, whether it's a closed deal or moving it to, a next call with a closer, if that's the role. So I think this is probably the best resource you guys can have for kind of building out that process, which is really cool. So again, down in the chat. Now, another thing that I haven't brought up in probably 8 or 10 weeks, any of you guys that have been in the program a while or been on my calls a lot, I'm guessing Dan, Georgetta are a couple names that have probably already seen this tool. But this is another great checklist that we built out. So you guys may know we have another offer and another thing we do at Audience Lab called VTB clients. They're very limited. We only take on a couple of these a year. And it's a very, very high ticket back end offer where we build out their whole DaaS agency for them. Everything, funnels, landing pages, pulling the list, just everything. All they got to do is take the calls and close deals. And hell, I even help them place reps when it gets to that point. So we had what was called a VTB client checklist for everything that we do when we do that build out. I've adapted it for our DaaS clients on anything. There's a few things that aren't relevant for DaaS clients that might be relevant for our VTB clients. But basically, I gave examples in columns C and D. And again, when I'm going to drop this in a chat in a minute, and when you guys get it, make your own copy and use a column that's blank and put in your own company name. But really, this is really the blueprint that every successful DaaS agency, whether they came in an incubator, they came in a low-level DaaS, they came in a high-level DaaS, or they were a vertical takedown client, and we built out the whole system for them. It always comes down to these things. So, like number 1, pick a THO. What does that mean? For any of you guys that are relatively newer or haven't been through the DaaS launch book, which again, anybody in incubators such as yourself, Drew, or anyone else on this call, you may not have received this because this goes out to DaaS clients. But one of the things we have in here is the 7 Trojan Horse offers and the features or deliverables within a tech stack that you should be offering to your market. So we go through what a Trojan Horse offer is, and it's all in this document. But for instance, let's just go through a couple here. Trojan Horse 1, the identity resolution standalone. We lay out all the big problems in the market, how our solution solves it, some examples, and then down below, the 3 or 4 instances and how you will use this and how you'll get results, all broken down, very simple. Number 2 would be identity resolution and retargeting. So there's some people we're just going to get the data and give it back to them and they know what to do with it. And there's some of our agencies that we're going to run the retargeting and the reactivation campaigns. And I would hope we're smart enough to charge a little more if we're going to do the extra service because it's time consuming, right? So again, you need to think as a reseller, do I just want to be kind of hands off in my DaaS model and sell the data and not really run all the reactivation because I don't have the time, acumen, whatever? Or do I want to, be a full stack agency that's going to be reliant on providing the data, but also providing the reactivation and or the monetization of the data? And again, the way I always decide that is really twofold. Number 1, I go talk to my clients or my prospects and I ask them, hey, Bob, if I'm to give you this list of 5,000 names, emails, and phone numbers of people who visited your website this month, do you know how to monetize and weaponize that? And if the answer is no, I need to know that number 1 of 2 things. I either have to figure out and do the reactivation, or number 2, I have to go after a higher caliber or a higher tier client that maybe already has some internal foundations built out. They already have a marketing department, an advertising department, a media buyer, right? So those are some of the things to think about when it comes to that. And again, so then exactly how you'll use that, right? The Trojan Horse 3, our match rate optimization, and we could go on and on. And our DaaS clients, you received a video where I kind of go through this whole thing, where I go through the whole MVP outreach approach and the THO video, and then you get that one-on-one call with me. So that's kind of what I'm talking about, kind of figure out what am I really working with? Am I focusing more on the identity resolution and reactivation, the in-market audiences and identity resolution, and pick the Trojan Horse or more than one, and have you really deciphered that? Now that I have, do you know the identity and the target, meaning the vertical you're going to? Am I going after home services, solar, roofing? Am I going into tech? Am I going to e-com, right? So, we have a lot of people that go with private attorneys, right? Whatever. So have I picked a niche in an industry, etc. Now from there, I want that stupid thing to get out of my way. From there, what we do is we start to write out emails, ads, VSL, which again, this was within the other resource I provided, but showing you our current ads. So anytime I could provide a resource, if you see something at the end, it's either a video or a Google Doc that has some of the resources that will help walk you through this, right? Sub-brand to that vertical is very simple, guys. Don't overcomplicate it. It's just breaking down the lingo to that vertical, right? We're going to talk to roofers different than we're going to talk to lawyers and doctors. So just sub-branding your industry lingo to really fit so it resonates and it feels genuine. Then we would be creating ads, scripts, emails, whatever we're doing, whatever's applicable, guys. We're not all running ads right off the bat. I wouldn't do that, but we still probably have to create some emails or some LinkedIn outreach messages or something to do outreach, whether it's a warm or cold network. Creating a VSO and building out what I call your eco script, which any of you that are new to this or don't know, that stands for engage, assess, assign, call to action, and obligation. And it's really the foundational framework that for 5 years, I've pretty much taken every prospect through, and I give a full explanation and a PDF explaining that and breaking it down. Obviously, number 8 on my screen, guys, I talk about this on every one of our one-on-one calls for any one of our DaaS clients. It's very important to get proficient at building audiences, not just competent, right? Especially when you're new and you just got in and this tech and this software is kind of overwhelming and there's a lot of stuff, or there could be a tech issue or whatever. And we just kind of, whatever, it's kind of a good audience. Let me just get it. Like if we do it half-ass and then we embed it into our client's marketing campaign, his ads or his emails, it's going to perform half-ass and they're not going to see great results. So get proficient. Go through the Getting Started with Audience Lab tutorials in school, specifically the ones that say building audiences, building custom audiences, and testing audiences. Those 3 are very, very relevant. I would say attend office hours workshops early on. We cover a lot of audience building and tech side of things, right? Any of you guys that are in DaaS have the ability to book one-on-one tech support calls. Or in the email I sent you after our call, I included the top 2 audience builders on my team's direct email address. So you can reach out to them if you're having trouble building an audience. If you have a weird one that you're like, I don't think we have a pre-made, how would you do this? Or any of those kind of questions. So utilize our support, utilize the tutorials, utilize the workshops in our team, and get proficient at building audiences. And then we get into targeting for ad platforms. Again, as it says in parentheses at the end of number 9, if applicable. If you're currently not running ads for yourself or you don't run your clients' ads, scoop over that one, right? A lot of us are creating email campaigns to launch new offers. Sometimes they might be awareness campaigns, just brand recognition. Sometimes they might be educational to, bring them from knowing a little bit about, data to being more sophisticated or aware when it comes to that. Some of them, we want to be driving them to a newsletter, maybe a free masterclass. Some might have a hard call to action to a booking link. So what is my campaign objective? And then how should I create the copy and the whole campaign to launch and actually get results successfully, right? A lot of, in the next column where it says generate leads, start with lead forms, that's where we see the data perform best in ads, specifically for our DaaS clients trying to get their first clients. So we've seen the best results and the best costs with lead forms. But again, that might change based on the vertical or the niche or industry that you're going into, where lead forms just aren't effective. So still use your own thought process and make your own decisions. I'm just showing you when we took the data of 100 agencies that started running ads for themselves, a majority of them, probably 75%, had the best results with lead forms. So again, there were outliers where 25% of people perform better with other types of campaigns. Obviously, the goal once we start launching emails or ads with lead forms is number 12. What we all want to be doing in our service-based business is generating appointments, right? Once we generate appointments, we put them into the sales process that I just gave you the breakdown in that seller resource doc, which is in the chat. And then I show you an understanding knowledge gaps in our eco script in a little more depth. So that's kind of advanced marketing stuff. I'm not going to go too much in depth, but there's a full tutorial explaining that, because I know if I drop something like number 13 saying triage using our KG script, understanding KGs, half of you guys might not even know what that means. It stands for knowledge gaps. And then even if you do know, what the hell does that mean, right? So I put a tutorial explaining what exactly it means and showing you visually exactly how I do this for clients so you can fully understand it, right? Again, and as it talks about an eco, we then assign frame and book a call. And why does it say book a call after the triage call? because ultimately in this 2-call process, the triage call is basically designed for 2 primary reasons, primary objectives. Number 1 is to make sure that they're a good fit for our product or service, and it's even worthwhile booking them in. And then number 2, what I always call a soft yes in terms of a financial pre-qualifier. Hey, Bob, when we meet on Tuesday for the second call, if I can show you a clear path on how using our technology would drop your cost per lead and acquisition almost overnight, would there be anything that would stop you from further investing into your business on that call and moving forward? Right? That's what I call a soft yes with a call to action. The reason I made it lengthy is because the other way you might see people do this on calls is, hey, Bob, if everything makes sense, would you be willing to move forward? And the guy doesn't really think about it, and he just says yes. So I make it a little longer, and the way I word it, if you guys picked up on this, hey, if I could show you this, is there anything that would stop you from moving forward? I want to pull out objections right now. Hey, Ray, my budget, my business partner, my spouse needs, like, I want to suss out those objections now on the triage call before I get to the actual sales call and get to the end. He's like, hey, Ray, it all sounds great, but I need my business partner before I can make this decision. That's my fault. I could have found that out a lot sooner. I didn't. Now we're moving to a third call. And the more calls in the process, the more chance something happens where they find a different solution. They go with somebody else. They just don't show up to a call, right? So again, the more we can get this more effective and more efficient, the better. And that's what this resource is designed for. After that, we would send them to the next step. So we would either close the deal on the next call, or we would send them to VSL. And again, in parentheses there, it's just saying you should script, you should edit, and then launch your VSL. That's just telling you the 3 basic steps of any VSL. Sure, you can punch it down to 7 or 12 steps, but those are the 3 that go into any successful VSL pretty much universally, right? Use the pitch deck that was provided to present and close. Obviously, contracts and payments and onboarding templates. Now, that might be confusing for some of you guys. Within school, when you go in school, you click on Classroom, you scroll down, you're going to see contracts and templates. The 2 that almost all of our DaaS clients do and almost all of our DaaS deals have ever been closed with are in there with a little tutorial showing you the differences. And then you can download each contract template and figure out which one's better for your business. Maybe a combination of both, maybe some for B2C, some for B2B deals, whatever. But we give you all the contract payment and onboarding templates that we would recommend and that our best DaaS clients have used. What we do for a lot of our offers is build out a welcome pack with all the links and onboarding process. So right when I close a deal and collect payment, I like to immediately transition into onboarding. Not, hey man, wait 2 days and check your email. You're going to have something coming. Like right now, here's the links. Let's get you scheduled. I want to bring up the onboarding call and get him booked in right now while I'm on the call and I close the deal before I ever even get off the call and send him his follow-up email. And obviously what we're all trying to do here with our agencies is get paid, build MRR with these type of agencies. What we're showing you how to do is build monthly recurring revenue, which most agency models are, and the fulfillment process, whether we pick the more low fulfillment or the more, full stack agency fulfillment model. So again, great checklist here, lots of resources. Let me go drop this one in the chat for you guys real quick. And then I'm also going to check if there's any comments or questions in there before I dive into a couple more things. Throw this in the chat for you guys. Yes, Eduardo just asked if I can share it. Hell yeah, I can, and I will, and it's there. Boom. There's all your checklist. Again, I don't think you can edit mine. I think so you go make your own copy so you can actually tweak it. I don't think you should be able to mess with mine. Hopefully not. If you can mess with it, please don't. But no, if you can mess with mine, it should still only be on your end. Oh, thank you. That sounds like a heck of a compliment. Appreciate it. So let me just check real quick. And guys, again, if you have questions, either type them in the chat, jot them down, and you can also just put a 1 in the chat. That means I'll see your name and I'll know to call on you so you can unmute and ask a question. But I do have a couple more things I want to cover anyhow before I get into that. So give you guys some more time. Again, these are more, resources. I don't know if there's many questions, but I just like to give a very thorough explanation of how to use these so I don't just drop you a checklist and you're like, what the hell does line number 8 mean, right? At least you have a good little explanation. And again, I know I'm kind of a fast talker, but I'm always post these replays right in our main school community, same day, usually within 2 hours of ending. The replay will be within the sales channel in school. So any of my previous replays or, one that you attend, it'll be there later that day. So something else I'd like to just show you guys, I always talk about we get clients through 4 specific channels of marketing that I think we do very, very well. And we've adapted those into all the different companies and brands. So number 1, we use our own paid ads, and just really quickly, always being, transparent and showing you guys what we're doing in real time. I brought up one of the recent days. So here it is on my screen. July 13th, end of day report, right? You can see this was kind of a crappy day for our bookings, but we booked 7 via ads that day, another 7 via our email reactivation nurture sequence for our list. We spent 1,330 that specific day. And because this 1,330 only takes into account what we booked directly from ads, our appointment cost was $190 per appointment. Now, again, because we had another 7 come in our email campaign, that number basically gets knocked in half to about what, $95 per booked appointment, which is just showing you guys that that's 2 of the channels right there that we use. Paid ads, we use cold email as well as warm email. So I'm going to lump that into one. I'm just going to call it email, right? But we definitely do both. This particular, what you're seeing here with the 7 book, that would be more of our warm email. People that have already engaged, attended a call, watched a live stream and said they wanted more information, registered for a workshop and maybe didn't attend and got hit with a nurture sequence, whatever that may be. But anything we can do organically to offset our ad costs is something I'm always looking at. So again, our 4 channels, paid ads, email, MBPs or JVs, what I call mutually beneficial partnerships, which all of our DaaS clients get about a 16-minute video and a worksheet of me going over exactly how I would lay that out if I were you. And then lastly, organic outreach. So some of you guys I know are new. Some of you guys have been following me for a while. My real skill set and how I made my first million online was strictly organic posts and DM outreach. All I did, and I specifically used the Facebook platform. Now I've expanded and I've got more proficient on other platforms, but I think my real expert and where I've done the most damage personally was definitely Facebook. I actually just did a live stream and a tutorial on my YouTube channel maybe 2 weeks ago, the exact blueprint of how I made my first million from scratch and how that's evolved over the years, and one of the most effective strategies to today do organic outreach and be able to do that very well. But again, so we use paid ads, email, both warm and cold, joint ventures or mutually beneficial partnerships, and cold outreach and organic marketing. We use that through creating content, putting out content in different channels. Sometimes it's DM and appointment setting, and one of the programs I run in one of my other companies is called DM Setter Academy, and I have 1 or 2 of them employed full-time, just replying to any engagement going on in all of our internet channels for Audience Lab organic content. So someone replies, I have a setter in there that knows the process and knows how to get them into the DMs and ultimately into a call booking or a free training or whatever it may be, right? So there's one aspect of what we're doing. Another aspect of, an effective business. So I can show you that we spend money, right? We're up over 20 grand this month spent. You can see a few days ago, we were at right about 19 grand. I think on average as a company, we're spending about 40 or 45,000 a month on our direct Audience Lab ads. Now we're spending money in lots of other avenues, but that's just our direct meta ads that we're running primarily on Instagram and Facebook that you're seeing there. But again, the other aspect is, okay, so you booked 14 calls that day and it cost you that much. That's great, but if we aren't closing deals, that stuff's kind of all irrelevant. So let me go down to the last day I have. Here it is, EOD report for June 16th. And again, I'm being very transparent with you and showing you internal channels that usually only our team would have access to. I think a lot of business owners don't really show you guys behind the scenes, but this is our new revenue closed deals and cash collected channel. So guys, this is only new deals that have just been closed, no pre-existing clients, no monthly recurring revenue that was already on the platform prior to the date of June 16th in this case. And you can see on June 16th, our new cash collected was a little over 6,700. Our new MRR was a little over 5,600. The big difference between those two, the new MRR means that's already on the books for July and August and months down the road. Whereas cash collected, sometimes there could be a one-time audience. It could be a sign-up register or a startup fee that comes with certain tech packages where we only collect the money once and it's not MRR. So I'm just kind of laying that out so you guys understand. You can see for the month so far. So what are we? The 16th, we're a little over halfway into the month. You can see we have about 53,000 in new cash collected and about 41,000 in new MRR, meaning collected this month and already on the books for next month and the following. So again, just showing you in real time some of the things that we're doing, some of the results we're seeing. So when it comes to the other aspects, and I want to talk a little more about some of the free ones, not the paid ads. I don't have the time today, and again, I create the videos, but I'm happy to go into it anytime, some more about the mutually beneficial partnerships if you guys would like to see more about that approach. I'm going to talk a little more today about some of the organic stuff and what we do. So part of that is content creation, guys. And one thing we're working on, again, I'll just show you internally. These are the specific angles that are assigned to me, and I'll break down this board. But on the left-hand side where I'm scrolling, you can see it says Jaden's, then it says Jesse's, then it says Ray's, So we have somebody from our team coming up with ideas and angles that they know are the most frequently asked questions, the most viewed hits on any of our YouTube channels, or the most engaging school posts. What's that content about? What are these questions about? What's engaging the most people? And then that specific person on our team goes and batches out that content into angles. So right now I have my tab open, and these are the angles that they want me to record, right? And we have basically 3 content creators that we want in front of the camera creating content for our team right now, myself, Jesse, and Jaden. And basically, this goes into production means my team member already shows you, and I'll bring one up. Let's say, I don't even know what the whole title. So using Audience Lab to create a profitable downsell to increase cash flow in the business. That has certainly been a big workshop when we ran that one and got a lot of engagement and a lot of positive feedback, right? That's kind of where we go back. We go back and look at all of our previous content, workshops, posts, ads, and the market tells us what's going to hit, and where they got the most engagement, the most positive feedback, we go recreate that into future content and break that down into posts. So they lay out, again, the title of the video, a quick little hook that they want me to record, a quick little body, which of course I go in, and I'm not very good at following scripts. I like to kind of shoot from the cuff, but I like the outline, and then my team takes the time to put this stuff together and kind of lay out some stuff that they know is within my wheelhouse to talk about. They lay out the body of what they want me to cover, then the payoff, and then the call to action, and then I go record it. I upload the video into there, like I just did this one earlier today, and then I slide it over to post-production editing. Now, I know not everybody has the full team. That's not what's really relevant, guys. I was doing the same stuff when I was doing it by myself. I just didn't have all the systems and stuff because I didn't need it. I was doing it myself. I guess the organization I still had, but I didn't have like, hey, one team member batches out the content, then you go record it, then I move over to here and my editor goes through and see if they want to add any graphics or captions or how to make it pop better, right? And then it goes into, then it goes into actually quality assurance, then it goes live, and then once our content goes live, we grade them into winners and losers based off the engagement. Winners, we're going to put into here and we're going to scale and double down on that, make maybe that same body, but change the hook, change the angle, change the headline, and just make subtle variations of that. The losers, we're going to drop into this, and we're going to shelve them and put them into a testing phase. Did it lose because of, the person recording it didn't vibe with it? Did it lose because the messaging was bad? Did it lose because we didn't do our research right and the angle is actually outdated and people aren't clicking on it anymore? So we're going to say, is this really a loser? Or can we maybe revamp this and maybe something we did wrong didn't make it a winner, and let's go shoot a different angle of it. And that's kind of how we always batch our content. So a lot of these losers go right back into the ideas later. Once we revamp it, we're like, okay, I think that would have performed, but we just needed a different hook or a different title or whatever. So again, constantly creating content, whether you have a team and multiple people or whether you're doing this yourself. I can easily batch out a handful, I'd probably say 4 hours, and knock out all these angles and create all this content. So this isn't days worth of stuff. This is a part day worth of creating it. And then once I create it, you think, even if you just have an account on one social media, whatever, your Facebook, your Instagram, your YouTube, you have a great amount of content. But if you're on 4 or 5 different platforms and you create 7 pieces of content, that turns into 28 or 35 pieces of content, because now it's going out on all these different platforms and different formats, right? You might even clip them shorter on TikTok and then use the longer version on YouTube. So you can make subtle variations. So that's one thing we're always doing. Another thing we're doing is, whether it's for me or for other clients, we're, engaging with cold DMs, with organic outreach, sometimes with Facebook groups or school communities even. Now, this particular document from one of the other companies I run, and a lot of you guys might know, if you're brand new, my PDOCS brand, just so you guys know, stands for pains, desires, obstacles, common beliefs, and steroids, also known as attention grabbers. And guys, those are the foundation things that drive all copy and all sales pages that you guys have ever clicked on and converted on. I guarantee they dug into your pains, your desires, the obstacles you're facing, your common beliefs or market misconceptions. And a lot of times they'll use steroids, attention grabbers, hooks. They'll say, hey, Russell Brunson got results from this, so will you. That's a steroid, throwing in another name in the industry that everybody recognizes. But it's always those type of things. And my PDOCS company is all geared around market research, copywriting, organic outreach, offer creation, transitional messaging, and ultimately opening up a constant feedback loop with your market for continued optimization in everything that we do. right? That's kind of a continuous in every aspect of business that I've known. Whether I'm doing organic outreach, whether I'm doing copywriting, whether I'm doing sales calls, building out scripts, building out teams, there's always constant optimization and tweaks. I would not write a sales script the same way today I would 2 years ago. Why? Because markets change. My knowledge has evolved. Lots of subtleties and intricacies within the marketing agency space that we need to account for. And again, that's why I always keep myself in this process, doing this stuff in real time and not just teaching it, because otherwise I'm not going to be have my finger on the pulse when it comes to seeing a lot of these intricacies and things I'm talking about, right? So again, I have an SOP here. Let's just say, and again, this doesn't have to be a Facebook group. This one was for a Facebook group. I don't care what kind of community you're running. You should really have the same kind of SOP. Again, I can run through this very quickly. I didn't plan on spending a lot of time on this, but be sure your membership questions are dialed in. I have a very specific approach, and exactly I cover that in the tutorial, right? A group optimization SOP. Have a very specific process for accepting your new members and what happens. So you'll see when somebody tries to come into my Facebook or my school community or whatever, before they even get accepting, prior to accepting, do this. Prior to accepting, do this. Now click accept. Now, once you've accepted, you have more things to do. So there's a whole process on how to engage with people most effectively and most positively. So you actually get warm responses. You don't feel like you're hounding them. Sometimes in this particular thing, one of the things I teach is tag them in a yes or welcome post, which structures back, just so you guys know and it makes sense, structures back to the membership questions. For instance, if anybody ever came into my PDocs group, the third question, and again, I paraphrase, I don't have it right in front of me, says something like, hey, the first year we launched PDocs, within the first 12 months, we did 1.6 million cash collected. Would you like to fast track your learning curve and learn how to get some of the same results for your info product? If they answer yes, I specifically have a post that I go tag them in, and I created a video with calls to action. Those people are raising their hands saying, yes, I want to fast track and I want to take action now, right? So that's a way that you can craft your membership questions to collect data, still be in the best interest of the prospect, but also utilize that to kind of take them further down your funnel and through your calls to action, right? So again, that's all laid out in here. And then I just did a quick little, recap of what's included in there. And I showed everybody the cold DM framework that I used to make my first million online. I always do these 6 things, which is probably way different than damn near any cold DM you've received, especially on LinkedIn or more B2B. We probably all receive those cold DMs saying, hey, Ray, what if I could show you 15 to 20 new appointments each month or you don't pay? Hey, Ray, would you love a VA to handle your copywriting and content organization for you? That's exactly what I do. We could place a VA in your business, right? Those are people jumping right into your DMs and making you an offer that really know nothing about you. I don't make an offer to somebody until at least I know where they're at in their business, where they're trying to get to, and what have they tried? What have they tried, or what's been the big obstacle with them getting to that goal, right? Once I know those, then I feel comfortable I can make somewhat of an educated suggestion or recommendation on how they can solve that. But just jumping in knowing nothing about them and saying, like, when I get that one, I screw with these people back. When I get the one that says, hey, Ray, what if I could book you 15 to 20 appointments per month? Would that make a difference in your business? Hey, man, do you know I booked 350 appointments this month for my business? Do you think your 15 or 20 is really going to help? Then they feel kind of stupid that they came out with that, because they presented an offer that really offers no value to me. It doesn't solve a problem. They just have it in their head that, oh, everybody needs an extra 15 to 20 appointments per month. No, not everybody does. Not everybody needs anything. Everybody needs what they need custom, right? So my whole success and my whole shtick, for lack of a better phrase, is just being relational. I keep it all about them. So when I do cold outreach, and again, I have a very structured process of how I'm adding somebody. So if I'm going to send a cold voice note, that means I've added them to my timeline or my network or my friends or whatever it is on whatever platform. And I've done that with a sniper approach that I kind of cover in a different tutorial. Actually, I think I linked it below. But either way, that I cover in a tutorial. So I know every person that I actually connect with and send this message to in some way, shape, or form can probably benefit from one of my company's offers or services. So I know that going in. But I always start with, hey, Bob, nice to make your acquaintance, man. Hey, man, my name's Ray, and I'm really reaching out because it appears we became connected here on Facebook in the last couple of days. And rather than remain strangers, like most people do on this platform, I actually like to connect and get to understand and know each person I connect with. So basically, I'm always expanding my network, Bob, and I'm really not sure exactly how the Facebook algorithm works. But what I've noticed is they generally connect me with other people who are, similar in terms of being like-minded entrepreneurs. They're creative. They're looking to make a better life for themselves, but they really don't take themselves too seriously, man. So I'm guessing you kind of tick some of them boxes. And looking over your profile, it looks like you, again, run a Facebook ad agency. Hey, I'm curious how long you've been doing that. I'd love to hear a bit more about what you do. Chat soon, man, and look forward to seeing some of your content moving forward. Now, again, I break it down into the 6 steps. I do that all in one voice note, and that's what's worked best for me. I've had other people in DM setters that have a little more of an accent, or maybe not as good of a speaking voice, or maybe just nervous speaking, that have had more success breaking this down into 2 or 3 text messages. They might do, 1 through 3 in message 1, and then come back with 4 through 6 in message 2, because in text format, that's really long for one introductory message. And as I talk about when I go through this and when I teach this, what I noticed by doing the voice notes, and again, I gauge this through hundreds, if not thousands, of different DMs, I noticed about a 12% higher response rate, but more importantly, I noticed the morale of the reply rate. Hey, Ray, that's cool. You're asking all about me. Man, it's awesome to hear from somebody that's actually looking to make a general connection rather than pitch me something. And then they go on and they feel like talking about their business or where they're at, right? That gives me a lot more ammo. And what happens is, because I kept it all about him and I left off that message saying, hey, man, I'm curious how long you've been doing that. I'd love to hear a bit more about what you do. Chat soon. Look forward to seeing some more of your content moving forward. Generally speaking, when you keep it all about them and ask what they do, when they come back to me, they're like, hey, Ray, now I feel like I'm talking all about myself. Hey, let me ask you more about what you do. And then I'm like, oh, I run a data tech company. Oh, really? Because we're running paid ads and we're looking for better data. Like, I knew that going in, but because of this conversation, they automatically make the connection, and it's very relational this way. So even that, I probably went into more depth than I planned on when I brought this up. Then I built out the DM SOP template for new group members. Now, it's a little different than cold messaging. That's not necessarily cold. They came in and they answered some questions. So what I tell my DM setters to do is, number one, you had already screenshotted their answers before you accept them. Once you accept them, you send them this message. Boom, send. Then you wait 30 to 60 seconds, you send this message. Boom, send. If they reply, sure, no problem, or go ahead, you reply with this message. If they give you no reply, wait 24 hours, then send this message. So I have it like broken down to the exact text and the step-by-step. I actually sent this to a new DM setter earlier this week. I remember he came back saying, Ray, I love how you laid it out so simple. I can literally just follow this and say, send, or no, this didn't happen, and go on to the next message. It's like so simple. So again, you can build this process out very, very easily. This is nothing complicated. But yeah, and then like once we get through the introductory phase and they're like, yeah, man, I'm happy to tell you more about my business. As I say, now you're into the assess phase, which I cover in that eco video when I go through engage, assess, right? And as I tell people, the main objective once you get into the assess phase is to know these 3 things. Number 1, know more about where they're currently at. Number 2, where they want to be. And number 3, what's stopping them from getting there, right? So however you have to ask those questions, I wouldn't just say that. I'd say, hey, man, so hey, where are you currently at with revenue, and where would you like to get to in an ideal world? Where are you looking at in the next 90 days or before the end of the year, right? And once they say that, okay, cool. So you're currently at 30K and you're looking to get 100K. That's a very cool goal, man. Let me ask you, what do you think's the big challenge and the big hurdle with trying to get there? Or what do you see stopping you, right? And let them talk about that a little. And then after that, I just weigh in and ask for permission. So, Bob, based on everything you just mentioned to me about how long you've been doing this, where you're trying to get to, what your biggest challenges are, would it be cool if I just gave you some suggestions and recommendations and sent over some free resources? It's very hard to say no to that, especially if they've already told you this. And I'm not asking for a call booking or to go click my link or to buy my shit. So nobody's going to say, hey, Ray, these are all my problems. And then I'm like, hey, man, I've dealt with that. I've helped people solve that. Cool. If I give you my suggestions, 9 out of 10 times they're going to say, hell yeah, send them over, right? Great. And then we kind of recap, tell them, what they're looking for, and then what resources to send. Now, again, if they answer yes to our yes question, as I told you, I create a copy where we tag them. So we tag the prospect's name already within my groups. No matter what group it is, I have a video with copy already built in there, specifically for people that raised their hand that said, yes, I want to, whatever it is. In this case, fast track your results and get this revenue result. So now my DM setter knows once he accepted and he answered yes, he goes into my group, finds that post, tags their first name, and just copies and pastes the rest of this and drops it in there. That invites them. And then, of course, in every different offer, this one specifically, I lay out our best resources and lead magnets and next call to action. So my setter knows, and it tells them above, hey, if they're above, it even says like, or maybe it says down below. Yeah, right. So like, hey, if you talking to somebody and they're under 10K months or can't hit them consistently, send this resource. If they're somewhere between 10 and 50K a month, you want to send this one. If they are more of an advanced person or looking to build a team, or they have a whole team already built out, you want to send this creator's book, right? If you need to book them in, there's our primary booking link for this offer. So the 3 or 4 resources, I don't like to confuse my reps. It's just like, hey, and I also don't want to create one resource for all of my clients, because you and I should both know, all of us on this call, we're going to say and offer and give value and resources a whole lot different to somebody under 10K a month than somebody looking to, hit their first 50K a month. It's night and day, right? So I have resources I kind of think about in all of my offers, prospect A and prospect B, my more sophisticated, my more established fan or, client base, and then my less. And I try to create a great, valuable resource for each of them. I don't just put something together. If you guys ever see these resources, these are like stuff that people would be happy to pay for. So I know when I diagnose their situation right, and I give them this free resource and recommendation, it's going to blow their socks off, and they're going to come back to me, whether it's immediately, whether it's the next day, but when they're actually ready for help and ready to move forward. So again, I just want to go over some of the different things that I build out and show you guys. I don't think I've ever walked through some of the organic stuff or the content side of things, or how I do my cold outreach, or how I create my scripts for new members, or how I would monetize and build my Facebook or school community into an actual monetized funnel, which I've done with pretty much all of our communities. So some good little overviews and resources I just wanted to share with you guys. Before we wrap it up, let me go check the chat. And if anybody has any questions, type a 1 in the chat, or just do the hand raise, emoji here on Zoom if you know how to do that, and I will call on you. How can you get access to DM Setter Academy? It depends exactly what you're looking for, Nathan. Are you looking to get good at DM training? Or are you looking to have a setter actually placed into your business doing it for you? If you could unmute and answer, Nathan, I could probably give you a better recommendation.
Yeah, I would say do it myself. Kind of train myself up, and I do have a team of 4 that I would like to kind of use this with and make some use of them.
Can you DM me after the call in school? I'll give you free access. I don't care. I mean, I've already created it. I charge people for it. You guys have already paying me you're already a client in another program. I'll give it to you for free. I can't place setters in people's business for free, which is why I asked.
Of course. Thank you so much for that.
Just DM me in school and give me a reminder just so I don't forget.
Of course. Thank you so much for that. I appreciate it.
No problem. Anything I create, guys, I'm never going to charge you for. Unless it takes time, or I got to go get another body and I got to pay, if there's money associated with it, I got to cover what that is. But any resources, any documents, I have so much stuff. If you ever need anything, don't hesitate to ask. I have sales scripts. I have DM scripts. I have, organic outreach. I've started my DaaS agency from scratch and looking to get my first client organically. I just shot that tutorial maybe 3 weeks ago. I both dropped it in school and on my YouTube channel. The 10 or 20 of you that I know went through it and gave me feedback all found that one really, really valuable. And within that one specifically, down in the description, I dropped you all my extra resources. Hey, if you're using LinkedIn, this is how my 5 best clients set up their profile. This is how they set up their messaging. So I've actually included everything in there. So I have a lot of this stuff already built out. I'm happy to share whatever I can that's going to give you guys success. I just don't like to overwhelm and give resources that you're never going to use or not applicable to what you're focusing on. So what I would say for each of you on the call, that's back to that checklist that I provided. Go back through and, print it out for yourself and kind of tick off. Have I actually picked out my Trojan horse? Do I know which deliverable or which, feature within Audience Lab I'm really wanting to sell and to offer? Have I some niche down? Have I started to build out some messaging? And again, that can be as simple as build out some cold emails and some LinkedIn DMs, and that could be your messaging. You don't have to create ads and VSLs for everything. All my companies, and the first one ever, I grew to 40K a month with just me and one other guy just doing DM messaging and building everything as we go. We had no funnels, no sales pages. I mean, outside of a booking link and a couple lead magnets, we had no VAs. We were running no ads. It was just go out there and create content, go out there and start conversations. And when you can help people, make an offer. And it was that simple. So I think a lot of people, within Audience Lab or within any business, you want to have all your foundations and everything perfect before you go. And I kind of get that. But what I've always found is just go and start getting in conversations and build and create what you need as you need it. Because a lot of times we try to make everything perfect. Everything we've created, whether it's it's a course within Kajabi and we've created all these modules, or whether it's SOPs for clients or whatever it is. A lot of times when we create stuff in advance and then take it to market, people just don't use it. There's crickets. They don't see the value, or you just don't really get the recognition for it that you should. but you start getting in conversations and they tell you what you need and you don't quite have it yet. It's pretty amazing how resourceful you can be and go find that or make that when you know somebody's willing to pay for it, right? So the only thing I would worry about getting dotted, getting, I don't want to say even perfect, because even this I optimize, but getting dialed in and then running immediately is some great email copy and some great cold DM copy, and pick a platform to go attack. Maybe it's a combination of Facebook and LinkedIn, right? If you're primarily B2B and you're going after more, more professional businesses, LinkedIn is probably better. If you're going after more service-based businesses and you're more kind of a relaxed type of niche or industry, it probably is Facebook, right? If you're in more of a product-based industry and more instant gratification and e-com, it's probably more Instagram, TikTok, right? So you got to kind of pick the platform if you're going to be doing organic that really fits your audience. Or the other thing I always look at, if I'm going to go into organic marketing for a product or service, and let's just say in the past, I had just used social media for, family, friends, engaging, sharing pictures of vacation of my kids or whatever. I still am going to pick the one where I have the biggest following and I'm most active and most comfortable. And then I'm going to start to branch out. And if you guys ever see my Facebook profile, you'll see that I'm very personal and also very business related. So you'll see a post about me out to dinner with my daughter, about me out to walk, about me at a concert, and then you'll see a case study or a new training I'm running. So I always feel that if people are going to work with you and they're seeing your social media content, it's really good if they can see your professional expertise, but they also see the personal side of you. I don't know how you feel, but I get kind of turned off when I scroll through somebody's profile and every goddamn post is my product this, my business that, my offer that. It's like, is this guy an actual person too, or is everything business, right? So I've always found that social media, be authentic, be genuine, and do a mix. Be yourself. Keep posting what you would if you were using your business, your profile for business or not, and then just mix in some business and profile and posts about clients, right? And I always say the more we can keep those posts and that content about problems, solutions, and desires. And results / outcomes that we provide. Those three key areas, right? Problems. The problems are rising ad costs, increased cost per lead, increased cost per acquisition, right? Those are some of the problems. Solutions, enhanced targeting, showing you in-market, intent-driven first-party data where we can run your creative right to there and you don't have to waste the money on the testing phase and Facebook trying to find your ideal audience. They're starting to talk about solutions, results, and outcomes. Just by enhancing your targeting and without swapping out your creative, we can usually see a drop in cost per lead and acquisition from anywhere to 25 to 40% pretty quickly in almost every offer, right? So the more we can keep our content and our posts about those things, that's what's actually going to engage your ideal buyers. And again, I think when it comes to social media and like merging your personal profile with a little bit of business, I think the other maybe fear, apprehension people have are like, oh, my family or my friends might think less of me. Like, I don't know. I went through all that, and personally, nobody that was truly my family or friend ever unfriended me or stopped talking to me because I started posting about something I enjoy and passionate about and I'm good at and I love, right? So I would say number one, those people probably aren't your real family and friends anyway, if you're really worried about that. But again, I also never took on a full business persona with social media, so I don't think it ever really left a bad taste in people's mouth. But I know I've heard that from a lot of people. Hey, Ray, I don't want to start talking about business because it's only family and friends. Yeah, that's how I started too. I had 200 people and only family and friends. I grew mine very slow and very selectively. I'm always a quality over quantity guy in everything I do. So now what do I have? 5,500, 6,000 followers, nothing crazy, but it all grew small, organically, and very selective. Out of 10 friend requests I get, I probably decline 7 and approve 3. I only approve people that I actually think would ultimately be a buyer or a good connection or, somebody with a business model or in a niche or industry that I can actually work with down the road. I think a lot of people on social media maybe put a lot of attention on followers, but if you have 10,000 followers of non-buyers that are never going to buy anything from you, what does it really matter? You know what I mean? So I've always built my audience slow and steady. But again, I just started slowly talking about things that I love, results I delivered, problems I solved, solutions I offered, outcomes and results that either myself or my clients saw. And slowly but surely, people paid attention. My network grew, and I never really got bad feedback for it. So just sharing a little more about my experience and what I've seen and what I've heard in terms of, fears or hesitancy with doing that. But that's kind of what I want to cover today. I don't see any other questions here in the chat. I don't see any hands raised. So guys, again, give me an hour or two. I will have the replay dropped in school if anybody needs to watch it back or slow it down because I am a fast talker. And those resources are right here in the chat. Again, the one at the top, I dropped at 308. That's the seller resources doc, the 8 links. and the one I dropped in the chat at 324, that's the checklist for the DaaS clients that you guys can go through. Awesome. I appreciate it, Jason, and appreciate all of your time and some of the feedback and the engagement here. Nathan, Drew, Sterling, appreciate your words and your questions. And hit me up if I can help with anything further, fellas. And ladies.
Yeah, great session. Great session, Ray.
Thanks, Sterling. Awesome. And guys, again, I'm going to just leave it one last thing. My hope out of these always, at minimum, take one thing away that I said today and say, hey, I can go implement that right away, and I can see that working for me. Maybe there's more than one thing, but at least take away one and go implement it so I don't waste my breath up here saying stuff that nobody's going to go actually, get results with. That's what I want to see you guys do. So appreciate that, and that's the best payback you can give me. Go implement me and implement what I say and tell me when it works. Thanks, guys. We'll talk soon. Yep, you're welcome.